right, welcome back to What She Said Sports, everybody. This Shadora girl. Um, you know, it's happening. It's happening. I shared about maybe last week that behind the scenes, somebody was gonna shake some ish up. Somebody was gonna shake some things up, and it's happening. It's happening. So before we get to that, let me give a wonderful shout out to Shedeur Sanders, aka Grown, for sticking it out in Cleveland. It's the obvious intention to hold him back, right? He was placed there. He was not drafted there because he wasn't on the board. So they had to put him somewhere. So somebody chose to, after the owners took him off the board, put him in Cleveland. Today, the owner showed up of the Browns to point fingers and said, it's Barry. Barry's the reason Shedeur is in Cleveland. I heard when we became introduced to the Cleveland Browns, once I learned Deshaun Watson was in Cleveland, that Barry is also to blame, that Deshaun Watson has a $230 million fully guaranteed contract after 24 cases of misconduct, right? Which essentially gave him back every dime plus his legal fees. I'm sure Shannon Sharp would like to have his money back. So it tells you that Deshaun Watson is in a very privileged position after settling all those cases to get every dime back from the NFL plus legal fees. Somebody lying. The facility said it before they got booted off the air, and ESPN is standing on Cleveland's head. Yesterday, I told y'all that a back channel, basically, if you will, a smaller ESPN channel, said it, that Shedeur Sanders being held back, not given first team reps is by design. I pointed it out and I asked, I said, now, why is it that Tony Grossi or a different reporter during Shedeur's first press conference could ask him why he didn't get any first team reps, but why didn't he ask the coach who assigns first team reps? Y'all don't find that strange that the reporter local to Cleveland would ask the player when is he going to get first team reps, but not ask the coach when it's his time to have a press conference? Maybe because Tony Grossi knows Shedeur Sanders not going to get any reps. Shedeur Sanders showed up 40 minutes early today to work out. We saw him doing his drill. He balled out today. You see the numbers right here in front of you. 8 of 11 for Flacco, and Sanders 7 of 10. Gabriel 10 of 16, and Pickett is not there. Gabriel threw a pick, hence the interception, and people are just calling it out. People, multiple fans of NFL teams who know football, the media, podcasters, and ESPN leading the way on one of their shows, basically saying he's just too short. His height, he was great in college. But in the NFL, he's not going to cut it. They think his height is a limitation, right? So ESPN is standing on Cleveland's head. They are calling it out starting yesterday with a smaller channel, but today on all of their flagship shows, including the show with Miley's on it, including the show with Ryan Clark, I think, is on it. Another show called Get Up. They just basically calling it out. Louis Riddick and Mad Dog went at it. And I feel like they set this up beautifully. Louis Riddick just said it. You know, it's a debate show. So Louis Riddick threw something out there so Mad Dog could refute it. And it landed perfectly. It landed like a beautiful Gulfstream or a Learjet. It landed perfectly. So Louis Riddick says that Shedeur Sanders is not getting first team reps because of bias. Personal bias nonetheless. He doesn't expect him to get any more reps than he's getting because the Cleveland Browns do not want to win with Shedeur Sanders. Did I not say that about Lamar Jackson in Baltimore? Did we not say that about bottom feeder teams, the Saints, the Titans, the Browns, the Giants? These teams want to win with who they want to win with. And can you guess how much melanin the quarterback has with who they want to win with? So today, when you listen to the news and you hear the back and forth that Jackson Dart should start, but Eli Manning says that Russell Wilson should start and play the whole season and sit Jackson Dart. And the media is like, no, we can't have that. Understand that is for your theatrics. That is for your theatrics. Because where they're going to land, their plane, is they're going to let Russ probably play one game short of being the starter, QB1, majority of the games for the season before they put Dart in. They would rather lose because they don't want to win with Russell Wilson. They want Russell Wilson to bow out, establish a winning record, and hand it over to Jackson Dart. The same Eli Manning that welcomed Jackson Dart, his classmate, his alum from Ole Miss. Y'all see the play? So Russ has been named the starter by the coach. Eli Manning, who welcomed Jackson Dart, his alum from Ole Miss, to town, he welcomed him to the Giants. He says Russell Wilson should start, but the media doesn't agree, even though everybody knows that Russell Wilson is better than Jackson Dart. So why the push for Jackson Dart? Because this is a play, ladies and gentlemen. This is a play. Just like in Cleveland, I'm so glad Louis Riddick had the courage to say it. I don't know what the hell is going on at ESPN, but I do know that ESPN is this close to acquiring the NFL Network and NFL Red Zone. The NFL will have 10% stake in ESPN, but ESPN will acquire all of NFL Network, all of NFL Red Zone. Sound like ESPN might be in charge. I'm sure that's a power play too, because somebody did request discovery. And if it's over at ESPN and they are not named in the lawsuit, then maybe I can't get that discovery. So ESPN has the upper hand. They can say what they want. They can do what they want. They can stand on the Browns' head. They just going to have to take it. Because you want me to keep this data over here at my house, right? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what the shaking up looks like. So Stephen A was talking about Coach Prime. Stephen A was talking about Coach Prime. The show Molly was on with Louis Riddick. I do believe they were saying that Cleveland does not want to win with Shedeur. Don't expect him to get any more than he is, because they do not want to win with him due to bias. If he said personal bias, just go ahead on and put the racial one in there, because that's personal. The first big box network to say it. Meanwhile, Colin Cowherd is somewhere praising Andrew Berry for calling out Shedeur about speeding tickets, but nobody can talk about Quishon Junkins. Is Colin Cowherd setting up Andrew Berry? Because today, and we have a clip of the video, Haslam, the owner, was out there today, and he was, this Andrew Berry got him here. So Andrew Berry is responsible for Shedeur being in Cleveland. Isn't that interesting? Because when Lamar Jackson got colluded against, 32 NFL teams, the owners, decided, we don't want you. We don't value you. Down in Dallas, Michael Parsons, they're talking about it all over every station that has sports in their agenda where football is concerned. Michael Parsons is being publicly humiliated. We don't want you. We don't value you. Same message, right? Lamar Jackson, we don't want you. We don't value you. Michael Parsons, we don't want you. We don't value you. Shedeur Sanders, Kevin Stefanski, Andrew Berry, we don't want you. We don't value you. Anybody see what's happening here? Anybody see what's happening here? We don't want you and we don't value you is the reigning theme. Colluded against by the owners. Shedeur Sanders taken off the board by the owners. Lamar Jackson colluded against by the owners. They were not competing. They were colluding. Russell Wilson, the owners, not the GM, the owners. And what is Jerry Jones? An owner and a GM. See, he don't need a GM. See, owners tell GMs what to do, right? Owners tell GMs what to do. Owners stood down pat against Lamar Jackson. And when the owner said no, was it the GM of Baltimore who asked him why he wanted to be traded after his boss said, we're not giving him this contract? Owners make the decision. What is Jerry Jones? Why Michael Parsons don't have a contract? Jerry Jones. Owner. Yeah, he slashed the GM. He don't need a GM because he's going to tell him what to do. Owners make the decisions. This has been proven time and time again. When black NFL players were banned from the NFL somewhere around 1932 because white people didn't have jobs, and they said it wouldn't look good for black people to be making money while white people didn't have jobs. They called it a gentleman agreement, not of GMs, of owners. Owners make the decisions in the NFL. Boomer Esiason told us owners took Shedeur off the board, right? So owners took Shedeur off the board. Therefore, he was a free fall. Andrew Berry jumps over himself after coming to work and saying, we just going to see how far he fall. Trades 2 picks in the same round to get somebody with a sense of urgency where before there was none, right? Andrew Berry is a GM. No court of law is going to, no jury is going to believe that in 1932, owners banned players. Owners, that Jerry Jones is the one who determines who going to play for the Cowboys. Owners, and he's his own GM. Owners tell GMs what to do. Owners took Shedeur off the board. Owners stood down pat against Lamar Jackson. Owners. But today, well, that's just interesting. Today, Shedeur Sanders is a GM's pick. The owner didn't have nothing to do with it. The same owner that threw his GM under the bus publicly. What you see on your screen right here, what does it say? And I have more of these. As the draft approaches, the speculation surrounding Sanders and the Browns will only intensify. One thing is clear. Cleveland is seriously considering going with Sanders. Who? Sanders at number 2. They believe he has the potential to be their franchise QB. Now, he didn't name 3 teams. He said definitively 1 team. Why was that speculation? Because they were pre-drafting with him extensively. I got a clip to show you. They were pre-drafting with Shedeur extensively. The speculation surrounding Shedeur because they're pre-drafting with him extensively. One thing is clear. Now, how is it that things are made clear? Because somebody told you. Cleveland is seriously considering going with Sanders at number 2, and they believe he has the potential to be their franchise QB. So why are they treating him like a 5th-round developmental QB? Busted. No jury will believe that Andrew Berry had the authority and the approval to give Deshaun Watson a $230 million fully guaranteed contract, something the NFL owners, all 32, stood down pat against Lamar Jackson about. No team wanted the 2-time MVP Lamar Jackson. No owner at all. Not one. And here we are again. Berry gets to decide on who to draft, right? Because he's supposed to be the GM, right? So if Berry is the one that gets to decide, Browns owner Haslam admits the team took a big swing and miss with Deshaun Watson. Is the date on there? Is the date on there? Who said they took a big swing and miss? On another clip, it says the Browns owner, Jimmy Haslam, said that we took a big swing and miss with Deshaun Watson. We need to unbury ourselves out of that. The Browns owner, Jimmy Haslam, admits the team took a big swing and miss with Deshaun Watson. Hold us accountable. It was at this moment. And the owner, now Andrew Berry is supposed to be in control, right? Andrew Berry the one doing all this, right? But the owner decided he want to speak. We took a big swing and miss. You think he said that for his health? No. No, because the post I showed you before says one thing is clear. They are seriously considering getting Shedeur Sanders as their franchise QB. See, connect the dots. They already told us. See, they already told us. that they pre-draft extensively. We're going to look at the interview. Because you know I got it right here. They told us. They pre-draft with him extensively. They told the media. One thing is clear. When you say one thing is clear, it's because you can confirm it and it's documented, hence discovery, which is why somebody needs to subpoena Andrew Berry. One thing is clear. He has the potential to be their franchise QB. Now, this happened before the Browns owner came out and said, we took a big swing and miss with Deshaun. And on April 2nd, that same reporter went back and said, well, yeah, I don't know if they're going to get a quarterback now, which means this statement right here on your screen was the catalyst to pivot away from Shedeur and pivot to Dylan. The owner made the decision after sending Andrew Berry to meet and pre-draft with Shedeur extensively because he has the potential to be their franchise QB. One thing is clear. On March on or about the date on this document right here, it states the owner says we took a big swing and miss with Deshaun Watson. What are Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders? Quarterbacks. But see, you don't have to infer from anything. You can go to the next reporting that I also have on April 2nd that undoes the first one. Well, I don't think they're going to get a quarterback no more. Pivot. The owner statement is the reason they pivoted from Shedeur. The owner statement is the reason they pivoted from Shedeur. So you're going to tell me Andrew Berry got the hot idea after 5 rounds of the draft, being nonchalant, telling reporters on camera, well, we just going to see how far he fall because they had no interest in getting him. That all of a sudden, Andrew Berry, a black GM, and in 2021, the NFL was sued and settled a $1 billion lawsuit, stating that black NFL players have lower cognitive thinking and functioning than white NFL players. Hence, black people are inferior to whites. What is Andrew Berry? Without a doubt, he's black. You saw those green rooms full of non-black people, few melanin spackled everywhere. So first and foremost, you want me and or a jury at some point to believe that the owners make all the decisions, that Jimmy Haslam basically, after it was publicly said they were going to get Shedeur because somebody reported what they knew. One thing is clear. Shedeur has the potential to be their franchise QB. Andrew Berry, at the order of likely his own boss, met with Shedeur Sanders extensively, or was has him somewhere on his yacht, and he heard about that and said, well, let me put a stop to that. Yeah, we got Deshaun Watson. That was a big swing and miss. Who's responsible for Deshaun Watson? Andrew Berry. So Andrew Berry messed up and gave Deshaun Watson the only $230 million fully guaranteed contract in the NFL that resulted in a collusion case involving Russell Wilson, the Lamar Jackson, and Kyler Murray. Andrew Berry is a powerful man, ain't he? He can veto his own boss, who said publicly, we can't get Shedeur. We took a big swing and missed. Or is Haslam lying? Seems like Berry tried to protect his boss, who's an owner, part of the same ownership group that Boomer Esiason told us, take that entitled so-and-so off the board. The owners, the same owners that banned black players from the NFL with a gentleman's agreement. The same owners that stood down pat and would not give a guaranteed contract to the 2-time MVP, Lamar Jackson. So much so that Baltimore asked him, where you want us to trade you to? Lamar Jackson. So we supposed to believe, and at some point a jury is supposed to believe, that all of a sudden a lowly GM can veto 32 NFL owners and draft Shedeur after they took him off the board. Shedeur was not drafted. They had to put him somewhere. And Cleveland is treating him like he was put somewhere. And we're going to figure out what to do with him. Well, the rumors are swirling that he could be going to the Jets. The question was, One of the Browns players could be going to the Jets before week 1. Who do y'all think it is? I said, well, let me see. How many black quarterbacks do they have on the Jets roster? 2? Oh, it's going to be Shedeur. Because the NFL is currently stacking black elite quarterbacks, one behind the other, and then some, so they don't spread out and be the majority on 32 NFL teams. Black quarterbacks do not make up the majority of quarterbacks in the NFL, but they do. They are this close to becoming the majority of all 32 NFL starters. Hence, 17 of 32, which is why the display towards Shedeur was desperation to collude against him, publicly humiliate him, so the public would understand why nobody wanted him. But we found out because Boomer Esiason told us nobody wanted him because they couldn't get him. Oh, there are teams that want Shedeur. There are teams that want Shedeur. Just like there were teams that wanted Lamar. But they colluded instead of competed for the talent. They didn't compete in the draft. They put Shedeur somewhere. And they treat him like in Cleveland. They treat him like they put him here. Kevin Stefanski in his interview said that there should be an uptick in reps. Now that Pickett is out for 4 to 6 weeks, Shedeur got one more rep than he had yesterday. 10 instead of 9. When the media and the fans from multiple NFL teams start calling out one team for its mistreatment of one of its players, somebody in trouble. Sound like Andrew Berry. Because Andrew Berry, the Browns didn't like him because he gave Deshaun Watson his contract. Bullshit. If the NFL thinks that black NFL players have a lower cognitive functioning than white NFL players, and their green rooms that we all saw on TV together, 7 million of us, had only a spackle of melanin, which means they don't have no black leadership overwhelmingly at all. How Andrew Berry get all that power as a black GM? Or is he being used for his melanin so people won't think that their actions are what? Biased? Sure. If a white GM were to treat Shedeur that way, you would know what it is. But see, Andrew Berry has some melanin. So it confuses people. Don't be confused. Because Andrew Berry ain't that powerful. Sure, he went to Harvard. Awesome. But he works for the NFL, which thinks that the players that are black have lower cognitive functioning than the white players. And they don't really generally hire a lot of black people in these executive positions because we can see what these green rooms look like. So they chose you for a reason, Andrew Berry, so you could take down your own. Shedeur Sanders. But see, there the fans come again. And now it's not just the fans. And it's not Cleveland Browns fans. See, the NFL thinks old school. The mentality is dated. See, back in the day, seemingly people aligned with a team. You was either a Dallas Cowboys fan or you was a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. But not today. See, 2025, we root for several teams. We got Jimmy with the Panthers. We got Travis, Cam, and BJ with the Jags. We got LeJohntay with Baltimore. We got Shedeur in Cleveland, unfortunately. We got Zay Weaver in Arizona. We got Will Shepherd in Green Bay. Let's go on and claim Luke Florio too, since Shedeur got him signed. See, here's the thing. Before social media, before people could talk to each other across the globe, the NFL could do what it wanted to do. If I want to treat a player like Shedeur and hold him back, who's going to know? Because the media not going to talk about it. That's obvious. The media refuses to ask Stefanski why Shedeur hasn't got first team reps and when will he, but they want to ask Shedeur like he's in charge of his own damn reps. That tell you the media knows exactly what's going on in Cleveland. So like I said, back in the day, before we didn't need the media to tell us what's going on, they could do what they wanted to, but they can't today. And now, in addition to the fans, you got ESPN, which means they got the NFL over a barrel because the NFL must need them to buy the NFL network, the same network that trashed the hell out of Shedeur Sanders. Not a coincidence. They just threw NFL Red Zone in there. Sure, they gave him 10% to make it look like it's just a business deal. But the way ESPN stepping out there boldly, first behind a smaller show, but today all of their flagship shows calling out the Browns for holding back Shedeur, saying it's because of bias and the Browns want to win. Sure, because that's what Mad Dog said. They want to win. He alley-ooped that perfectly. Riddick says, yeah, but not with Shedeur. Now, why wouldn't they want to win with Shedeur? Can't blame Coach Prime because he never made it there. So you can't blame Coach Prime for the draft. So Cleveland has some explaining to do. So I want you to take a listen to what the owner had to say. You already know he threw his GM under the bus. We took a big swing and miss with Deshaun Watson. Who picked Deshaun Watson? Andrew Berry. He put this in the media. So let's see if we could take a listen to what he had to say today. Hold on 1 second. I think I got to share it because I can't hear it. Give me 1 second. All right. I think you should be able to hear it. Can y'all see it? I don't know if y'all can see it. Let me see. Hold on 1 second. I don't think you can see it. Give me 1 second, guys. I think I know what it is. Hold on 1 second. Here he is.
But
Okay.
we had a conversation early that morning.
All right. Let me see if I can start it over. I don't know if
you
y'all
had
can
told
hear
me-
it, but let me see.
So you picked him on Saturday, right? Friday night driving home, y'all are going to pick Shedeur. I would say that's not happening. But we had a conversation early that morning, and then we had a conversation later that day. I think we had the right people involved in the conversation. At the end of the day, that's Andrew Berry's call. Andrew made the call to pick Shedeur. Just like who's going to start or what play we're going to call is Kevin's call, but that's Andrew's call. He made the call. You obviously. If you'd have told me, so you picked him on Saturday, right? Friday night driving home, y'all are going to pick Shedeur. I would say that's not happening. But we had a conversation early that morning, and then we had a conversation later that day. I think we had the right people involved in the conversation. At the end of the day, that's Andrew Berry's call. Andrew made the call to pick Shedeur. Just like who's going to start or what play we're going to call is Kevin's call, but that's Andrew's call. He made the call. You obviously. If you'd have told me, so you picked him on Saturday, right? Friday night driving home, y'all are going to pick Shedeur. I would say that's not happening. But we had a conversation early that morning, and then we had a conversation later that day. I think we had the right people involved in the conversation. At the end of the day, that's Andrew Berry's call. Andrew made the call to pick Shedeur. Just like who's going to start or what play we're going to call is Kevin's call, but that's Andrew's call. He made the call.
All right. So I think you heard it. I played it a couple of times that you could hear. Thumbs up if you could hear what he was saying. He was basically saying that it was Andrew Berry's call to draft Shedeur, and that if you would have told him on Friday night, when did the draft start? Thursday or Friday? I feel like it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If the draft started Friday, Haslam was saying, if you would have told me on Friday night that we were picking Shedeur, I would say, nah, that's not going to happen. Okay. Friday night was the first round. The second round likely was Saturday. So what he's saying is that he knew that Shedeur wasn't getting drafted in the first round. Because why? He'd already went away from it. He put it out publicly. When you say we took a big swing and miss with Deshaun Watson, and you say that Andrew Berry chose Deshaun Watson, Andrew Berry is responsible for Deshaun Watson, you are essentially saying Andrew Berry messed up. So now you're going to give Andrew Berry the authority to draft Shedeur Sanders after the owners took him off the board. See, that's critical. Shedeur was already off the board. How do you know? Look at the free fall, right? He was already off the board. He was locked out of the first round. Haslam is saying, if you would have told me Friday night after the first round, going into the second round, that you would have drafted Shedeur, I would have said, no, that's not happening, because he couldn't draft Shedeur in the second. He couldn't draft him in the third. And he was taken off the board clearly after the first round because he was automatically locked out of the first round. That's how he knew he wasn't going to be drafted in the first round, he being Haslam. So what he is saying is that when they got down to round 5, that's up to Andrew Berry. So Andrew Berry has been thrown under the bus twice. And let me tell you why. Andrew Berry has basically said that Shedeur was drafted late because his value relative to the first round was too high. In other words, he cost too much. Right? So Shedeur Sanders costs too much. As the draft approaches, the speculation surrounding Sanders and the Browns will only intensify. One thing is clear. Cleveland is seriously considering going with Sanders at number 2, and they believe that he has the potential to be their franchise quarterback. One thing is clear. It was not a joke. Shedeur probably thought this too until what? Until this statement right here. Browns owner Jimmy Haslam admits the team took a big swing and miss with both Deshaun Watson. He's basic with Deshaun Watson. What he's telling Andrew is, y'all ain't getting Shedeur. I see it's out there in the public. I might be over here in another country, but y'all ain't getting Shedeur. Oh, hell no. Like he said, after the first round, if you'd have told me that you was getting Shedeur, I'd be like, He know that. Why? He wasn't on the board. He wasn't on the board. That's why he wasn't going to get him. That's why he could say, if you would have told me Friday night that you was getting Shedeur, I'm going to be like, because he wasn't on the board. So how did Andrew Berry, a lowly GM, veto his own boss? We took a big swing and missed with Deshaun Watson. So you spent money to get 2 quarterbacks on your own. You just out here messing up all the money. You gave Deshaun Watson $230 million. Now everybody else wants the guaranteed contract. Now I got rookies holding out for guaranteed contracts. This on you, Andrew Berry. So you just going to sit there. You're going to waste Shedeur's time and pre-draft with him extensively. One thing is clear. He going to be your franchise QB. But then you act like you don't know him. You are totally perturbed the night of the draft.
Quarterback being the most important position in the sport. We obviously spent a lot of time with Shedeur throughout the process. He's highly accurate, can play well from the pocket, very productive college career. And we felt like it wasn't necessarily the plan going into the weekend to select 2 quarterbacks, but as we talked about, we do believe in best player available. We do believe in positional value, and we didn't necessarily expect him to be available in the 5th round. Like, he was a good, solid prospect at the most important position. We felt like it got to a point where he was probably mispriced, relative to the draft.
He was probably mispriced relative to the draft. He was too expensive for the first round. We were surprised he was still there. Then why on earth were you so upset when you drafted him? You spent 2 picks in the same round to get Shedeur. After you pre-draft with him extensively, after one thing is clear, he going to be your quarterback, after your boss threw you under the bus publicly. How long you going to let these people make you the butt of their jokes, Andrew Berry? So Andrew Berry himself shielding his owner. Haslam lets us do our jobs. Haslam said, no, that's on Barry. So Barry is responsible for Deshaun Watson and pre-drafted with Shedeur in the second round. The owner say no, but Barry could get him after he got Dylan Gabriel. So why y'all treating him like trash then? Why y'all treating him like we don't want you, we don't value you, we don't want you? Why y'all treating him like Michael Parsons being treated in Dallas? You believe in the best positional player, you believe in the best player available. So you trying to tell me that you wasted all your time and money traipsing back and forth, chasing Shedeur down, meeting with him as late as CU Pro Day, but you thought his price relative to the first round was too high. Are you broke? You knew when you pre-draft with Shedeur extensively how much it was going to cost you because you was checking him out as your franchise QB. One thing is clear. One thing is clear. That shit is clear. So either you don't know how to be a GM or you lying. And you think you protecting your boss after he done stood up here and threw you under the bus twice. Because no jury will believe that the same owners who banned black players from the NFL because white people didn't have jobs in 1932 under a gentleman's agreement, which it ain't nothing but collusion. The same owners who did what? Colluded against Lamar Jackson not once but twice. 32 teams colluded instead of competed for a two-time MVP. No jury will believe that Andrew Barry had the damn authority to give Deshaun Watson, after 22, 24 civil cases, he could usurp the, the commissioner. He can veto the commissioner. He can tell the commissioner, no. I believe in him. Why would they listen to Andrew Barry? They don't even think that black people have the same cognitive functioning as whites. And it proves it when you look at their green rooms. So why the hell would I listen to Andrew Barry? Because he went to Harvard? Hell to the no, because racism don't work like that. The longer Shedeur is in Cleveland, the lies will continue to be exposed. And I, for one, was shocked and thoroughly amazed that ESPN just said what the hell we've been saying. That they are intentionally holding Shedeur back. They are intentionally not developing him because they do not want to win with him. Marlon Briscoe, Denver 1968. We know you good. But since you black, we don't want to win with you. What is Cleveland's track record with black quarterbacks? How many black quarterbacks have Cleveland won with versus how many have they had? Let's see. Deshaun Kaiser, they let him go 0 for 15, which is very humiliating. And as Deshaun Watson, who they paid $230 million to, but decided to hold him back and kick him every day like he a Coke can down a damn street. No, he can't go nowhere. That damn Andrew Barry. Everything is Andrew Barry's fault because he's black. And he's allowing it to happen. But thankfully, ESPN, through some kind of way, has echoed what the hell we've been saying on all of their shows. They don't want to win with Shedeur. So fans, stop stressing yourself out. They intentionally holding him back. It is biased. They don't want to win with Shedeur. On to the rumors that a Browns player will be traded before week 1, like we said, because it'll be too late to learn somebody else's playbook. So then there'll be 3 black quarterbacks with the Jets, which means the coach gonna have to rotate all 3 of them. By the way, the head coach is black. See where this is going? Or he going to hold back 2 elite quarterbacks because he can only play 1 for the season. I told y'all, wherever Shedeur go, just look and see what the situation is with the quarterback. If there's a black quarterback there, they're going to bury him over there. So they chose the team that already has 2. So he's going to be QB3. And the coach is black. So having another black man hold back an elite black player. They wanted Mike Tomlin to do it with Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh. That's why Mike Tomlin don't have no power. Last year, Mike Tomlin had 2 black quarterbacks. Now he got 2 white ones. Because why? When Russ came from Denver, Russ was supposed to be QB2, much like Shedeur is supposed to be buried somewhere, and nobody is ever supposed to let him touch the football at QB1. See, if I stack enough black quarterbacks on the same team, then they can't take over the league as the majority of the starters because they all stacked up there together. So the Jets make sense. And it makes sense for Shedeur when you think, when your priority is to hold back the numbers of black starting quarterbacks, then your answer is Shedeur Sanders. Who wants Dylan Gabriel? Everybody sees he was great in college, but this not going to work in the NFL. It's obvious that Shedeur is better than Dylan, but Andrew Berry think he got an opportunity to save his job. The owners think that they have an opportunity to not to appear racist. So if I hold Shedeur back, he can never be better than Dylan, right? But see now, things have changed. See, everybody's talking. ESPN talking. Real talk. And you know why they talking? Because we talking. Everybody's talking about this. Somebody emailed me today and said they're not even an NFL fan. And they upset at how Shedeur is being treated. They're going to have to move Shedeur. And maybe that's what God wants. Because God knows that they was going to sit there and hold him for draft capital. That's why you heard all this talk. We want Arch Manning. Come to find out, Arch Manning said he's going to be in school 2 more years. This came from Haslam's esophagus. Andrew Berry thought he was getting a pat on the back from Colin Cowherd when they said, yeah, it's good for you to kick Shedeur about some speeding tickets. He thought he was being pat on the back when he being set up to be fired with his Harvard degree. He knows black people see him as Ruckus from Boondocks. If you don't know, go look it up. But he don't care what we think. He care what they think. Well, I hope he see what they think. How many times you going to let somebody use you, scapegoat you against people that look like you? He clearly doesn't have the courage that Isaac Newsom had as the GM to trade up to stop the slide for Lamar Jackson, the same Lamar Jackson that no owners wanted. I told y'all they still retaliating against Lamar Jackson. He done been colluded against 3 times. The MVP, his 3rd MVP, went to Josh Allen, who's the number 4th quarterback in this class coming up in this season. Yet Lamar Jackson is still number 1. In other words, you the best, but we don't care. Same message to Lamar, same message to Michael Parsons, same message to Shedeur Sanders. The owners make the decisions. The GM didn't make no damn decisions until the owner of the Ravens stood with the other 31 and said, we are not paying you, Lamar Jackson. And then he got a call from the GM. And Haslam wants everybody to believe that Andrew Berry is the almighty powerful. They don't even believe in black people like that. Settling $1 billion lawsuit because you think black NFL players' brains are inferior to white? To the point where you underpaying black NFL players from concussions, saying, oh, ain't nothing wrong with you, but you're going to pay the white players for concussions. CTE is real. And you discriminating on who you going to pay for CTE. Paid out $1 billion lawsuit for violating the civil rights of black NFL players. And Andrew Berry, all of a sudden, is the black one that they trust. Why? Because he stabbing Shedeur in the back? Because he reeled him in? Because he reeled him in for you? Did he know you was going to cut bait? Because he sure looked mad. In that green room, he looked like, I'm tired of this shit, but you still doing it. The things people do for money. Selling your soul. No different than being in Africa. And instead of certain people being the ones taken into slavery, they were like, wait, I got some people for you. And went and got people that look just like them. Instead of standing up and fighting back. And working in the spirit of Isaac Newsom. They insulted Andrew Berry all throughout the draft. Oh, Cleveland just going to get scammed out their picks, which means they think he's stupid. So I don't know whose bidding he think he doing. Because it's like Colin Cowherd to set you up. Your boss to set you up twice, make you look incompetent. Nobody else gonna want to hire you. And ain't no jury gonna believe that he made no damn decisions after the owner said no. The owners took him off the board. Shedeur did not get drafted. He got put somewhere. And Cleveland is treating him like, you just here till we figure out what to do with you. Hence, the NFL giving out his phone number to 2,000 people who did not need to know, including equipment managers, the same equipment managers Shedeur was throwing the ball to last week. And what was next? A waiver wire. What does that mean? That's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. You are here at the cutting of Shedeur Sanders. But maybe instead of cutting him, they got to trade him because of the pressure, because all of the talk that they didn't expect. I told y'all yesterday, these people don't expect no accountability from nowhere. NFL fans don't just root for one team no more. That's a dated philosophy. And even if the Browns fans have nothing to say, everybody else is talking. 2 million people that bought jerseys, plus 1 million that's waiting to get the 2. 3 million people fill up 42 NFL stadiums. There are only 32. So that's what accountability looks like. Y'all keep talking.
Really, the acquisition cost was pretty light, and it's a guy that we think can outproduce his draft.
I've spent a lot of time with Shedeur. We know what he's about. He's coming in here to work just like all of our other players.
We view.
I don't know if y'all noticed, but Kevin Stefanski just threw Andrew Berry under the bus. I'm going to back up a little bit. Pay attention.
It was pretty light, and it's a guy that we think can outproduce his draft.
I've spent a lot of time with Shedeur. We know what he's about. He's coming in here to work just like all of our other players.
We view him.
He's a guy that can outproduce. So you know he good. Because you was going to get him as your number 2 pick, so you robbed him. So instead of paying him $45 million, the acquisition cost was really light. You can get him for 4, but yet y'all holding him back. Y'all not developing him, but he can outproduce. He is outproducing, isn't he? So maybe they're not giving him no reps because they know he good. So why is he in 4th place on your roster? Why are you treating him like he's not good? We know he can come in here and outproduce. Listen, these are smoking guns, ladies and gentlemen.
Cost was pretty light.
The acquisition cost is late.
We
Just
felt like
listen.
it got to a point where he was probably mispriced, relative to the draft. Really the acquisition cost was pretty light, and it's a guy that we think can outproduce his draft.
I've spent a lot of time with Shedeur. We know what he's about. He's coming in here to work just like all of our other players.
We view him as a highly accurate pocket passer. He does a really good job of protecting the ball. He has enough of the physical characteristics, whether it's arm strength or mobility. Like all young players, there are things to improve. I think probably much has been. Okay,
so he has arm strength. So they know who he is. Andrew Berry and Stefanski. See, Stefanski said it. Stefanski said it. We know exactly who Shedeur is. We know he going to come in here and he going to work. Berry says, we know he'll outproduce. His acquisition cost was pretty light, which means he was cheap. So he jumped over 2 draft picks to get him because he cheap. So why they not giving him no reps? Why they kicking him every chance he gets? Why were they so upset if his acquisition costs were pretty light? Because they guilty. Because they reeled him in. One thing is clear. Shedeur Sanders is being considered as the franchise QB for the Cleveland Browns. Another thing is clear. Shedeur Sanders is projected a 1st-round draft pick by the NFL. The same 1st round he was locked out of. By the same NFL that gave out his phone numbers. Are you seeing the collusion yet? So we are beyond the collusion of the draft. What is being proven is collusion in Cleveland too. Also. And so the collusion has carried on to Cleveland. All they had to do when they got Shedeur was just let him get out there and compete with everybody else. But no. The marching orders are to hold him back, just like the marching orders were to lock him out of the 1st round. And since we know the owners took him off the board, you're not going to ever convince the jury that Andrew Berry vetoed his own boss and he still got a job. You're not going to ever convince the jury that Andrew Berry vetoed 32 NFL owners that took Shedeur off the board. It said, I'm a GM. It's above my pay grade, but I'm drafting Shedeur. But then I'm going to be upset about it. You're not going to never convince the jury of that. Ever. Not with the history of the owners colluding. No, you don't. Gentleman's agreement. It's still collusion. And it's always against black people. Publicly humiliated. Lamar Jackson, CJ Stroud, Michael Parsons, Shedeur Sanders, Terrell Pryor, Marlon Briscoe, Joe Gilliam. Joe Gilliam won outright in practice, people. He beat Terry Bradshaw, and they still took his job from him after Joe Gilliam amassed a winning record and gave it to Terry Bradshaw that he beat out in practice. So your best bet is get Shedeur the hell out of Cleveland. But where is he going to go? Because there does not seem to be any independent thinkers among the 32. And we know GMs ain't running shit. Now, you're never going to convince the jury of it with all the evidence out there that's already documented that the owners make decisions as who play for their teams and where they get drafted and how much money they make. It's not going to be hard to convince the jury that Andrew Berry is being used because he has melanin to be the blame for Deshaun Watson's contract, knowing that they holding back Deshaun Watson too, because I told you. In 2023, he went 2-0, games 1 and 2, and then they rotated to another black quarterback. They had 3 black quarterbacks that they rotated with, and they had a winning record of 7-4, and then they handed that over to Flacco, just like Joe Gilliam was forced to hand over his starting job in a winning record to Terry Bradshaw. See, none of this is new, and it's all documented. No jury will ever believe that Andrew Berry has the power to override 32 NFL owners when it comes to $230 million guaranteed dollars. No jury will ever believe that. Not when you know that the NFL believes that black players have lower cognitive functioning than white, and they don't really hire any black people in their green rooms because we could see the spackle of melanin that was there. It wasn't even enough to say it was a chip in the cookie. No jury will ever believe Andrew Berry chose Shedeur Sanders on his own because you can tell he's disgusted every time he talks about it. He wasn't happy that night. Maybe because he knew we would get to the point, whereas if Shedeur was on my roster, on my team, the truth going to come out that we were going to get him as the franchise QB. And that I was allowing myself to be used against another black man and people not going to like me. No, they're not. Not at Target and not at Walmart and not at Costco. They will not. People don't like what's happening to Shedeur, and non-NFL fans are talking about it. NFL fans are cheering for multiple teams, including the Browns, and they don't even know who they really are, but because they're cheering for Shedeur. Everything that people said has been disproven. Oh, he was the owner's pick. Nope. The owner's pointing fingers at Andrew Berry. That's his second big mistake now. Because see, now you said Shedeur's value relative to the first round was too high. So he was too expensive to be a first round pick. So then you got him at pick 144 for $4 million. You're still pissed off at it. And then he comes in and beat out your whole damn roster, which means you a fraud. That's what it means, ladies and gentlemen. You knew exactly who he was. You intentionally devalued him so you can get him for less money and hold him back. Because you're not going to let him be no better than your worst players, because that's going to make you look like a fraud, ladies and gentlemen. Let's keep listening to this bullshit.
Said about the number of sacks he's taken. Some of that is environment, and some of that is his improvement on his end, for sure. But he has probably a little bit more of a, call it retro or classic style of play. Our message to him is really all just like, look, you got to come in and work, and you got to come in and compete. And that's the message. Nothing's given.
Nothing's given. So they're making him earn his reps, but Dylan Gabriel doesn't have to. Sounds a little bit discriminatory. Shedeur Sanders has to earn his reps because he's entitled. Isn't that what the owner said? The same owners that took him off the board. Andrew Berry is parroting the same language, and they want us to believe Andrew Berry vetoed 32 owners who let Shedeur slide down to 144. The hell no. You will never convince a jury of it. You're going to have to pay them off first because they're not going to come to that conclusion. He's the best QB on the roster, and they don't want nobody to see it. So they think if they send out their media dogs to keep saying that he can't learn the playbook or that he needs to develop, that people will believe it. I do not know why in 2025, with all of this technology, including AI, you think we gonna believe what the hell we don't see. This is not 1968. This is not 1868. This ain't even the early 2000s. We about to be halfway through the 2000s. And these people want us to believe that Shedeur needs to develop. Develop into what? A superhero? Because he already the best QB you have. His style of play is retro style QB. Is Joe Flacco a pocket passer or a dual threat? What is Joe Flacco defined as? The way he stands in the pocket, he's a pocket passer. So you wanted Joe Flacco, but not Shedeur. Nobody cares if the 1 and 2 is Shedeur and Flacco. But see, Cleveland don't want Shedeur to win in their town. They don't want Shedeur to be better than Dylan because it proves they were frauds, because it's documented. They were pursuing him as their second pick in the draft. Somewhere around March 31st, I bet I know it's documented when the trade was agreed upon for Travis to go to Jacksonville. The date is documented. And it's also documented that Andrew Berry took himself to Shedeur's pro day and had dinner with Coach Prime, Travis Hunter, and Shedeur Sanders around April 4th. The draft was what? April 23rd? If I'm not mistaken, the date on this right here is on or about March 31st. So your owner said you took a big swing and miss with Deshaun Watson, but several days later, you go to Colorado and you have dinner with Coach Prime, Travis, who you traded for, and Shedeur. I wonder what y'all talked about. Why did you even go down there? Did you tell Coach Prime what you was going to do to his son? Did you give him a heads up? No, you didn't. Did your owner play you and you really didn't know? And now you caught like a duck in the headlights on March 31st, but yet you still ran down there and you mysteriously had dinner with the person y'all traded for. Did y'all tell Coach Prime, Shedeur, and Travis, oh, Jacksonville, we're going to trade our pick, Shedeur. We're not going to be able to get you. Maybe that's what they told him. Maybe that's what happened at the dinner. Yeah, my owner came out on the 31st and said we can't get you. So maybe he went down there and told them, Jacksonville gonna get you, Travis, and Shedeur, we're not gonna be able to get you like we thought. And Coach Prime, I'm sorry. I tried. I did my best. But then on the third day of the draft, he drafts Shedeur and he's upset about it. Throws him under the bus any chance he get, to the point where Kevin Stefanski is throwing him under the bus and saying better things about Shedeur than he is. Which is almost contradicting him.
We certainly do rely a lot more heavily, on our reference work for people who have been with the prospect for 2, 3, 4 years. We felt good with him as a person.
Now, did you hear that? Did you hear what he said?
Really good kid.
We rely heavily
Shedeur,
on the reference point
about,
of it for the people who have been around the prospect for 2 to 3 years. So somewhere between March 31st, CU's pro day, he decided, after his owner came out and said, we got Deshaun Watson, we took a big swing. So in other words, I'm going to fire you if you draft Shedeur. We ain't getting Shedeur. So why did he run back down there to CU to have dinner with them? To formally thank them for wasting their time? How much did he really know? That's why he needs to be subpoenaed. He needs to be subpoenaed so he can be forced to tell the truth, because he's lying. He protecting people throwing him under the bus. Let's see how long he keeps protecting them. Whoever suing, you need to subpoena Andrew Berry. So, Barry basically told us that Shedeur was not his choice, right? Uh, Relative to the draft, his price was too high. He met with him extensively all the way down from January to April. When you meet with somebody January, February, March, April, 4th, y'all say Haslam was there. I didn't hear nobody say he was at the dinner. I heard the dinner was between Barry, Hunter, and Shedeur. Don't know what the hell he said, but it's not a coincidence that Travis was there and he ended up being the one going to Jacksonville. And the dinner took place after this right here. This is when they cut bait. So when you look at the documented calls and interest in Dylan Gabriel, it should be somewhere around this date, if not on or before. It's going to be close to it. And you're going to see the things that they're saying. But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Shedeur, we can't get you no more because we still got Deshaun. We sorry. Thank you for your time, Travis. Jacksonville probably going to get you, so we're going to trade the pig. Okay, well, we appreciate your time, Andrew Barry, for coming down here and telling us this. Then we get to the draft. Travis goes to Jacksonville. Shedeur falls. Barry says we didn't know he was still going to be there. So why were you upset when you got him? Why were you upset when you got him? Because the owners took him off the board. So how did you get him? Because we know you didn't veto 32 owners who also stood down and colluded against Lamar Jackson and all black players in the NFL in 1932. We know you know that didn't happen. We know it wasn't the coach that didn't want Marlon Briscoe to be the quarterback, because we know the NFL has an ugly history when it comes to black quarterbacks. It's not new. It hasn't changed. And the closer they get to black quarterbacks becoming the majority of the league, not just 17 to 32, but 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, it'll make sense as to why Shedeur just might be the third black quarterback with the New York Jets. Because if I stack them together, y'all can't take over. But if I spread the elite QBs out, well, damn, I only got like 2 or 3 white quarterbacks left. That's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. So for Haslam to say Shedeur was Barry's pick, and for Stefanski to sit there and overtalk and throw Andrew Barry under the bus, and now Stefanski is holding Shedeur back. I mean, why? Y'all really think it's Stefanski's call? No. Who locked Shedeur out the first round? Was it Stefanski or Barry? No. Who took Shedeur off the board? The owners. The owners. So Stefanski and Barry have no power without directives from Haslam. Stefanski gets to determine the number of reps based on the marching orders. We ought to hold Shedeur back. Shedeur was not drafted. They found him somewhere to go. So like the facility said before they got canceled, they lied to us about Shedeur. And now ESPN is calling it out too. So let me see what y'all are saying, because this is a hot mess. Oh, I do have one more video to share for y'all. It's with Shedeur. So let me share that first, and then we're gonna get to the comments. We got 2 videos to share for Shedeur. How great he did today. We're gonna share that. Let me clear up some other things here. All right. Give me 1 second. All right. This is Shedeur's compilation from today. Yeah, you know, he did well. Nobody had a fantastic day. Again, Dylan proves that he was good in college. Like they said on ESPN, he was good in college, but this not going to work in the NFL. So that means Shedeur is really what? QB2, because Pickett is out. Dylan is not going to work. So it's turning out to be what it probably should be. Flacco, who hasn't played a full season since 2017, and Shedeur Sanders. Let's see. Let's take a look. All right. Let me make sure I get it on the screen. All right. Hold on 1 second. All right. All right. So what you're seeing It's Shedeur balling out, basically. People commenting on how much he has a connection with Gage, his friend 84. I guess they haven't realized they're friends, or they're starting to realize that. Let's see if either one of them makes the team. And of course, they're talking about Luke Floria, who Shedeur got signed, but hell, Shedeur himself might not be on the team. I'm not mad because he needs to get the hell away from Cleveland. Another complete pass. I mean, he's the best quarterback they have. I don't believe there's a competition, but every day it proves that Shedeur is the best QB, and he has been the best QB from the beginning. And when you know what you now know, that they were considering him, one thing is clear, as their franchise QB. It begs the question, why did y'all do him like this? ESPN said it. They don't want to win with Shedeur. They're biased against Shedeur. Do we need to argue about what kind of bias it is? Because notice nobody said anything about Coach Prime, because it has nothing to do with it. And if it has nothing to do with being held back in Cleveland, it likely has nothing to do with being held back in the draft. And that opens a bigger can of worms. So I can see them trading him after these preseason games, because he's technically auditioning for the team that they're going to find him somewhere else to go. And it's a black coach this time. Pay attention. Pay attention. All right. So that was that. This is the last one, a bit of joy in Shedeur's day. We talked about this yesterday. You can't lie to the locker room. Well, guess who else you can't lie to? Guess who else you cannot lie to? These kids. You see his face? This is the joy. This is the love this man's getting because of how he's being treated by these adults. There you go. There you go. One more time. One more time for the timeline. One more time. Way to go. Way to go. All right. So y'all saw it, right? The kids love Shedeur. The kids love Shedeur. One thing about it, right? One thing is true. You're not going to be able to lie to the locker room. You're not going to be able to lie to the children. They gravitate to who they connect with. I'm just gonna say it like that. And it's obvious, Shedeur, right? It's obvious after, I think it's day 6, that Shedeur has more upside and growing to do. It's also obvious that there's some kind of collusion happening, and there is collusion happening in Cleveland. It seems to be extending over from the draft. If it's investigated, it will be found. Because this time it's not going to be investigated by an arbitrator. This time it has nothing to do with the players. This is external, right? And external sources do not use arbitrators. They use courts of law. There's already one lawsuit out there waiting to move forward. After what people are seeing, there is no way you should be able to deny that that's a frivolous lawsuit. The way Shedeur is being treated in Cleveland is playing right into the hands of this lawsuit. Barry, I hate to tell him, but between Colin Cowherd and his own boss throwing him under the bus publicly, they coming for you. And if not, they're keeping him as what they call a useful idiot. They can use his melanin to against another black person. Pay attention. That's a pattern. Sending Russ from Denver to Pittsburgh. But see, Mike Tomlin was expected to hold back Russell at QB2. but he made him QB1. They went to the playoffs. They were going to run it back. They got players from Seattle, DK Metcalf, and then they booted Russ out. One of the teams they made Russ interview with is the Cleveland Browns, and they didn't want him either not because Russ is not good, because the Cleveland Browns don't want to win with Russell Wilson. So we are supposed to believe that because we hear people selling lip service that Russell is going to be the starter in New York, where they never had a black starting quarterback, and they did everything, the famed Shedeur Sanders, so they could justify getting a 6th ranked college QB over the number 1 overall QB. That's what all the defamation was about, and the public humiliation. All of that was so we could buy into, oh, they don't want you to do it because he's not good. Again, you're not going to tell the public what they see with their own eyes. This is not 1968 or 1868. We have too much technology out here for you to try to convince billions of people that what they see is not what they see. So it's obvious. Shedeur is the best quarterback they have. It'll likely be Flacco and Shedeur because, if Flacco start limping, it's going to be Shedeur because it is proven. As much as Cleveland is praying that Dylan is better than Shedeur, God is showing, nope, Shedeur's the guy. Shedeur's the guy. He's the one I chose. He's the one I chose in the draft. He was the one I chose to come here. I opened that door and let him come here, and you keep trying to hold him back. So I had to move Pickett out the way. So now Dylan is exposed. He's not going to work out. So I'm going to need to move him out the way. Now, if they send Dylan to the Jets, then what it means is what I said. They never believed in him. See, they playing in his face because they all but telling him, we want you to be better than Shedeur, but we're going to get somebody else next year. So that means they want Dylan, who's Polynesian, to be pitted also against Shedeur, who's black. We don't know if Pickett is hurt or not because he got a hamstring injury for 4 to 6 weeks. That's a long time. With those kind of advanced medicine processes that they have, 4 to 6 weeks is a long time. So they just want him out the way. They want Dylan to emerge. That's why he keeps getting the most reps. But he's not better, and you can't tell people that he is. So as the Cleveland Browns turns continues tomorrow, we're going to end this particular segment before we go to the comments with the kids. I think we got to the kids already. All right. So we got to the kids. We just going to end it with the comments and see what y'all are saying, because there were 200 people in here at one point. There still are, I think. Everybody got a lot to say, so we're going to see what y'all are saying. Okay? We're going to see what y'all are saying. Let me change the screen. Okay, hold on one second. All right, who's in here? Who's in here? Who's in here? And if you're getting ready to drop off, make sure you subscribe and hit the like button for me. Thank you so much. So for the people who said that Cleveland was using Shedeur to make money, nope, because he would have been wearing the number 2. We don't value you, and we don't want you. That's the message that's going out to several players in the league right now. Okay, so hey, David Ruffin, how you doing? How you doing, Bumpy? Welcome. The Cleveland Browns owner admitted that he didn't want to draft Shedeur, right? Because he didn't draft Shedeur. We've been saying that, right? He did not draft Shedeur. He told Andrew Berry, after y'all know who popped up, and said, we're going to need you to get Shedeur. Shedeur was not on the board. You can't draft a player that's not on the board. See, they forget that very, very important fact that it's already been publicly discussed what really happened. The owners took him off the board, and I don't blame them. Well, thank you, Boomer Esiason. So how did Andrew Berry get a player that's not on the board? He didn't. Peter, thank you. Has them trying to get away from those collusion. Exactly. Let me put a star, Miss Anyway. You got the crown for today. Let me give you your crown for today. Miss Anyway, that's correct. Haslam is blaming Berry so he can get away from those collusion allegations, because Haslam is an owner. He's an owner. So a lot of people, the owners, if you could tell, are shielded by several aspects. But see, this is a public case. This is a public situation. I'm not talking about the lawsuit. This is a public issue because the public, non-football fans, NFL football fans from multiple teams or different teams, not necessarily Browns fans. See, I knew this was going to have to move outside the Browns fans because I could tell that they were not going to be willing to do anything. And I don't know, they seem to be in some type of slumber, but it has moved external. It's not the players, so there's no arbitration. It has moved to non-NFL fans, to big box media. ESPN amazingly and shockingly on all of their programs. The Cleveland Browns do not want to win with Shedeur. He is being intentionally held back. It is by design. It is due to bias. Feel free to argue about whatever kind of bias you want to, but if you say personal, just go ahead and start it with a capital R, because then you're going to have to look at the rest of the history with the NFL when it comes to black quarterbacks. Bias opens the door. Bias against Shedeur, a black quarterback. Public humiliation, something that other black quarterbacks have experienced. It opens the door to look at everybody, to look at the ugly history that the NFL has towards black quarterbacks. So thank you, ESPN. Night Owls activated. It said the rejected will be respected. That is facts. That is facts. Happy days. Welcome back. Welcome back. Hey, Regina, how you doing? How you doing? They all fall down. Yep. And that's what's happening. See, I said it yesterday. I said these people feel like they above reproach, that nobody is going to stand up against them. But you know what? They knew they fans. See, they knew the Browns fans would not stand up against them. They knew Shedeur had fans, but they were willing to ignore them because it's just Shedeur. But see, now it's non-NFL fans. See, now it's NFL fans of multiple teams. And now it's big box media along with bloggers and podcasters and just regular people who are like, did you see what they did to Shedeur? Yeah. It's called allies. Allyship. That's exactly what it is. See, they knew their fans weren't going to say nothing. They thought it was going to be isolated to the fans because this is a Browns situation. No, this took place in front of 7.3 million people in the draft. And now they're hearing about it again with the Browns. So we're going to run collusion back again. If you see that many patterns of collusion within a year, well, why don't we just go on and take a look and see how you conduct business? This is bad. And it's not going to go away. And they going to be pressured to trade Shedeur. They wanted to keep him for draft capital. And I don't know why the hell they thought they was getting Arch Manning, because I told you that wasn't happening. Now he's staying in school for 2 years. He's like, oh, y'all not going to play with me. He's staying in school for 2 years? Not a surprise. What he coming out for? This is madness. Look at who he hangs around. He likes it where he is. His head coach is actually married to a black woman. He is showing people he grew up in New Orleans. He has no problem with black people at all, which makes him different from apparently the people before him. So he's not coming out of school. And all they were doing was trying to hurt Shedeur's feelings, but they were pulling Dylan close. Well, we like you. No, they were going to get rid of you too. They wanted him to be comfortable with anything as long as he was better and held out in front of Shedeur. And he might have fell for it for about 5 minutes. But then he started to realize this is not a good position to be in. No, Caitlin Clark, it's not. It's not at all. Hey, Tina, how you doing? Owners telling lies and more lies. Yep, that's what it's looking like. Hey, Freeman, welcome back. Thank you for the support. Thank you. I appreciate you. It says, I completely unsub all Cleveland media. That owner doesn't deserve any business. He is arrogant and ungrateful. Yep. I told y'all the Cleveland Browns have a lot in common with the New York Giants. Love the podcast. Thank you, Ernest. Hopefully you can sub and stay with us. Thank you. Hey, Miss Pamela, how you doing? Bridget Maxey said, I think Haslam is lying. Good old boys cannot be trusted. A GM wouldn't have the power to draft Shedeur while the clamps were on him. Haslam runs a ship. Facts. And they want to run away from that, which is what Miss Anyway said, which is why she has the crown of the day, because that's exactly what's happening. That's exactly what's happening. What's on the screen tells you the reason Andrew Berry was pre-drafted was Shedeur extensively, because he was going to be their number 2 quarterback. The question is, how much did he know and when? Were you in on it? When your owner came out and threw you under the bus, did you really know, hey, I'm going to throw you under the bus? Don't say nothing. Remember what we talked about. Very well could be the case, because look at how he treats Shedeur. Andrew Berry acts like a person that lured somebody somewhere. And every day that person is around, they feel the shame of guilt. So they try to say anything negative about that person so other people won't like them. It's kind of third gradish, but okay, that's what it is. Why wouldn't you be happy that you got him for cheap? I mean, besides the fact that it's fraud, it's because he's still there. Damn it, I thought we was done with this plot. Nope. Cleveland Browns have a lot of explaining to do. Why you don't want to win with Shedeur? I thought that's what you was in the business for. Well, they obviously collude. They don't compete. They did the same thing to Lamar Jackson. I told y'all Lamar Jackson's story and Shedeur's story has a lot in common. I said that Shedeur should study every black quarterback out there, and he gonna see what has been happening to them in their story, starting with Marlon Briscoe, 1968. Then go to Joe Gilliam, Doug Williams. Then it'll explain why Warren Moon ducked off to Canada. Rightfully so. But now he's back and he has amnesia, apparently. I didn't even know Jacoby Brissett was over there behind Kyler Murray. So the stacking of black quarterbacks, see, they think people are looking at one team. Everybody in the comments, we all looking at one team. That's what they think. No, we're seeing this because we're paying attention to all teams, because that's what these news channels do. They have shows that tell us what's going on around the league. So when I see that Micah Parsons is being given the message, we don't value you, we don't want you, and I can hear the media saying, I don't know why they treated Micah Parsons that way. How do you expect these players to be in harmony with each other when you treat the players this way? I don't know why they would treat Micah Parsons this way. You know what I said? I wish y'all would say the same thing about Shedeur, because it's the same goddamn thing. We don't value you. We don't want you. Man, here we are today. I got my wish. I was shocked. I was shocked that the facility said it. They gone. ESPN ain't going nowhere. Why? Because they this close to acquiring the NFL Network and NFL Red Zone. Who else they going to give it to? ESPN is a behemoth in sports, so much that TSN, the station I was telling y'all about, ESPN has 20% ownership stake in TSN, which is these sports networks, which uses the same red logo letters with the T instead of the E and the S in Canada. So who's the boss right now? The one going around doing all the talking on all day shows. I'm impressed. That ain't easy to do. Because normally I'm like, where's the angle? There is none. The NFL needs saving. They know the NFL Network is guilty as hell. They need to spin it off. They need that data to move on so it don't get roped up in discovery. So if I get rid of it first, I'm going to give it to ESPN. ESPN, oh, you need me? Oh, sure. Sure. 10% stake in ESPN for the NFL just looks like just a regular business deal. Y'all know how it go. When there's a divorce and one of the people is hiding shit, hiding assets, hiding documentation, hiding money, judges look. So you sold this ahead of this case coming your way because you didn't want us to look there. Well, now we going to look there. That might not happen. That would be shocking. That would be completely shocking. Because I know a judge know what that looks like. If I could see it, they could see it. It's not a good look. Look like you're trying to hide something. I told y'all the NFL Network. See, that was the one saying Shedeur was tapping the ball. Then Bucky Brooks was on there at the Shrine Bowl. And he was telling Shedeur, you know, we got to do this. It's just part of the process. Shedeur said, yeah, my dad told me this how I go. I'm like, this ain't how I go. This ain't how I go. But for Bucky Brooks, who was black, to tell that to Shedeur, you know, we got to trash you for ratings, right? Was he also being played? Because it wasn't just for ratings. That defamation, that harassment, whatever you want to call it, that devaluing of Shedeur robbed him of 40 or 50 or 60, and the number goes up every single day. 70, maybe $100 million in front of 7.3 million people. That's why the NFL Network will be under the wing of ESPN, who is not named in the lawsuit. So the next person who sues would have to rope up ESPN, but you're going to have something first. You're going to have to know. You're going to have to know some things because they were not technically a part of the original lawsuit that's out there. But, hey, there's never just one lawsuit. Some people just wait and sit back till the other one go forward. See how that go, get the evidence from that one and use it in the next one. That's how this is done. That's how this is done. So they're going to answer to somebody. Looks like they made Barry the fall guy twice. Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders. Twice. Isn't that crazy? Why would you agree to that? How much money they paying you for that? Because see, now you got to walk around here and be human, and then you got to live with yourself. See, living with yourself, when you do things like that, it don't end well. That's called selling your soul to the devil. That's what that is. Letting people use your melanin, which is $10,000 an ounce, which means you should have more pride and more care for people that look like you. That's why I say the spirit of Isaac Newsom, that's what they all should aspire to be if they black GMs. Good evening, Roger. Welcome back. Jimmy has them lied and said Barry made the call for Shedeur. Right. So they want us to believe that after Shedeur was taken off the board, a lowly GM who messed up and paid Deshaun Watson $230 million told the 32 other team owners, I'm going to draft him because that's what the hell I want to do. And he wasn't happy about it. Yeah, okay. You see this person that made this comment right here on March 31st? And then on April 2nd, well, I don't know if they're going to get a quarterback in Cleveland now. You know why he didn't know? Because look at what we're reading. Because what the owner said. Not one time is there a damn comment about Andrew Berry making any decision. What they let Andrew Berry say is, we don't have a problem with Coach Prime. I remember that distinctly. What I also remember them saying about Andrew Berry is he going to get scammed out of his picks, which means they think he's stupid. Andrew Berry and Mike Tomlin were the only two people told what to do in the draft, and they both pertain to Shedeur. So the draft was about controlling where Shedeur went, taking him off the board. I'm sure in Discovery to come out where exactly he was supposed to land, possibly Mr. Irrelevant, maybe undrafted free agent. Wasn't a coincidence that after Shedeur got drafted, all the rest of the Buffs got drafted. Now people are putting it together because, they love Travis. They was playing in his face too because he had to go to Coach Prime to get his goddamn contract signed. Jimmy Horn Jr. is the most obvious case. I've been saying it. They sure love Jimmy. Somebody else said it today. They're pimping the hell out of Colorado's players. They are. They undervalue every last one of them to make it seem like this was about Coach Prime. I think everybody knows Coach Prime is selfless. The man came out of surgery on part 2 for the glory. We're going to talk about it tonight. Lord have mercy. I was holding my face watching. I was like, oh my God. Like, for real. I was like, geez. First thing he asked, how was Shedeur, Shiloh, Jimmy, Travis? Because they were in practice. And Shedeur did know something because he was on FaceTime. And his father had tubes all up in his face and his nose. And you could hear Shedeur talking. So knowing his father was getting skinny, whether you knew it was because of his diagnosis or you knew something. Because hell, I did too. I said, whoa, Coach Prime wasting away here. What's going on? Everybody knew something. That's not easy to go out there and ball out like that. And I said it. Bernie Kosar even said it. He's a professional. He makes professional throws. He has skills that you can't teach. I guess Stefanski and Barry didn't get the message, but they couldn't do nothing about it no way because this ain't on them. Yeah, they wrong for carrying out this plot. They ain't got no power. The owners don't want to they don't even want to touch the Shedeur situation from the draft because they know it came out that they colluded. Oh, that's Barry's doing. Yeah, okay. Well, Barry done messed up twice now, because what's going to happen when Shedeur get traded? What's going to happen if they don't play Shedeur? They're going to have to trade somebody. You're going to either have to trade Dylan. You're going to either have to trade Dylan so Shedeur don't look better than him, because if they ain't on the same team, I can't see it. That's what they think. And they're going to bury him somewhere else, but then how they going to explain that to him? I don't know. He might have his own problems, his own grievances, because he should. But the goal is clearly to play keep away with QB1 with Shedeur and to keep Shedeur behind Dylan. Let's see how long that continues, because ESPN lit them up today. I was glad. I was happy to see it. Exactly. That's what his punishment is. He had to drop Shedeur Sanders. Yeah. So it proves the NFL does not compete for talent. They collude for talent. That's what this is proving. Jimmy Horn, Florida proud, right? They're going to trade Kenny Pickett. People said that. People said, Reverend Nelson, they said they setting this whole hamstring thing up, him out for 4 to 6 weeks, and somebody going to be magically interested in him. But again, I also heard, I'm pretty sure I was still watching ESPN today. They said, don't be surprised if Shedeur get traded. I told y'all, first week, somebody said by October. I made a bet with a person. He got out. He left social media. I was like, what? He said Shedeur was going to be the starter by week 1. I said, I'm going to pin this on my ex profile because that ain't happening. The next thing you know, I see a post that his Legendary Answers or something like that. That was his name. He used Legendary in the name. He left social media. I was like, well, damn, the bet is off, I guess. I was like, damn. I was like, okay. okay. So that was hilarious. How we gonna make a bet and then you gonna leave social media? I guess he started to realize what I said was true. They not finna let Shedeur get. They don't want to win with Shedeur. That was the most important takeaway, because keeping Shedeur away from QB1, even though he's the best, because 17 to 32 is more important. We don't want to win with Shedeur. That ties back into what Mel Kiper Jr. said in NFL Insider that I probably can guess with 5 guesses on one hand. Told him that the NFL does not want quarterbacks like Shedeur Sanders. With that being the case, Andrew Berry was still out here chasing Shedeur down, having Shedeur to believe, just like everybody else, that he was the number 2 pick, because one thing is clear. So when the NFL Insider went to Mel Kiper Jr. and told him the NFL does not want quarterbacks, plural, like Shedeur Sanders now, 2025, Andrew Berry didn't have shit to do with that, because he's not an NFL insider that runs around and talks to the media. No. That came from the owners, the same owners that said, take that entitled so-and-so off the board. That is above Andrew Berry's pay grade. And as arrogant as he might want to be, you are not Superman. I watched all the CU games. Shedeur is the bomb. Those accurate throws appear. Yeah. And here's the thing. They willing to waste his talent just because they playing keep away with QB1. They willing to waste this young man's talent. How many other quarterbacks' talent have they wasted? I heard the term today, and I'm pretty sure I was still on ESPN. Organizational negligence. Malpractice. That's what it was. Organizational malpractice. That's exactly what it is. I liked it. I said negligence is malpractice. Remember those 2 words. Organizational malpractice. The Cleveland Browns wasted Shedeur's talent, not giving him a fair opportunity, holding him back intentionally because they are biased, ruining other quarterbacks' careers because they have had 40 quarterbacks take snap as starters in 25 years. We counted 12 in the last 4 seasons. So they have no problem wasting Shedeur's talent. Everybody can see he's the best. Organizational malpractice. Or something for a lawyer to hang on to. Y'all bro say, I don't think he's hurt. Some people don't think he's hurt. Some people really don't think he's hurt. Trade him. It's their loss. Yeah, it is. But the question is, if he goes somewhere, they just going to start the process all over with, because When the owners collude, the GMs have to follow. And that's what we saw in the draft. The owners collude. And you see the GM and the head coach are following in Cleveland. So they want to send him to the Jets, possibly, who has a black head coach and too many black quarterbacks to put Shedeur in front of. So they pitting a bunch of black people against each other. They're doing this kid wrong. Yes, sir. I know it's some lawyers watching. Gretchen said, I hope they trade Shedeur. Yep, but they don't seem to be any independent thinkers out there in terms of the owners. You need somebody to be an independent thinker, and that's not happening. Now, surprisingly, I told y'all this was going to start happening. See, right now, they're shielded, right? Andrew Berry is doing a solid and taking the blame from Haslam, right? Don't think they did get their story together before today. They already talked about this. The owners try to find a way to shield themselves, whether it's the management council or the GMs or anybody else that they could blame. Usually arbitration is how they move forward, but this time it will be the public. It will be the fans. And I think the NFL should take notice that people don't just cheer for one team. That's how we know what's happening in Dallas. And even if I don't cheer for Dallas, they have news stations that talk about shit all day long. So that's how I know about it. And when I kept hearing them talk about Michael Parsons, I said, they're doing the same thing to Michael Parsons that they're doing to Shedeur. We don't value you. We don't want you. Am I wrong? Is that not the message Cleveland is sending? We don't value you. He's a 4th-string QB when he's the best QB on the roster. We don't want you. He's not getting reps. Stefanski was asked about reps. He said, well, everybody's going to get an uptick in reps. That has nothing to do with Shedeur getting first-team reps. The media won't even ask the question. And if they ask it, he don't answer it. And they don't know how to press or they don't want to press. It don't even matter no more. Because now we all know Cleveland does not want to win with Shedeur. Just like I said, Lamar Jackson better ask himself, does Baltimore want to win with you? And if they wanted to trade him when the owners colluded against him in free agency, the answer is no. So running out here and getting all this talent, but when it's critical time, you're not giving the person that you went and got the ball, they playing in his face too. From the moment he said, I want to be a quarterback and not a wide receiver, and stood firm on it, they've been playing in his face. They let him get 2 MVPs, but they weren't going to let him get 3 because who else has 3 MVPs? Tom Brady. How long it took Lamar Jackson to get 3 MVPs versus Tom Brady? Josh Allen ain't special. You know it. Shedeur Sanders has a new nickname going around on social media. Can y'all guess what it is? Lil Brady. Lil Brady. Remember I told y'all before they were taking off the air, the facility referred to Shedeur Sanders. He a little Tom Brady. He another Tom Brady. He the next Tom Brady. Wait till they hear he the next Tom Brady mixed up with Pat Mahomes and Jaden Daniels. They gonna pass the hell out. Because how do you hold that back? This kid was proven. The NFL had him 1st round projected. Then on about February 20th, the NFL doesn't want quarterbacks like Shedeur Sanders now. They changed their mind. Just like right here on the screen. We already knew Shedeur was being pursued to be their number 2 pick till the owner came back and said, we changed our mind. We got Deshaun Watson. This is a owner's decision. Andrew Berry is being what my stepfather referred to as a useful idiot. So they can hide behind him. And the melanin is supposed to confuse you, but nobody's stupid. He just making it harder for himself. No one even seen Kenny Pickett get hurt. They said the 4 to 6 weeks was suspect. That looks Stefanski and Barry had when they picked him shows they did not want Shedeur. They did not. And he wasn't happy that he got it for cheap. That's what tells you. That wasn't his pick. They got a phone call. We got to push Shedeur somewhere. That came from the owners discussed that amongst themselves. Oh, we got to push Shedeur somewhere. Haslam, you going to take him since he was going to be your number 2. Well, yeah, I'm gonna just say Barry. Barry did it. Barry, we gotta get Shedeur. Do what you gotta do, damn it. 2 picks in the same round to get the same person. Come on now. That's why he looked like that. God damn it, I was out here meeting with him. And you got me doing all this. Yep, you signed up for it. And apparently still are. They trade the 2nd pick for a bum quarterback. Yep. And that's why we cannot win in Cleveland. Y'all ain't gonna win in Cleveland because y'all want to win with certain people. See, y'all want to win with certain people. I don't have time to look into your track record. From what I took a glance at it, what happened to Deshaun Kaiser, there shouldn't be no more fans in the fans, no more fans watching Cleveland at all. They let that young man go 0-15, made a 2nd round pick, their franchise QB, because they drafted Myles Garrett first. They want Myles Garrett to be the franchise leader. Okay, but the kids gonna like who they like. See, one thing, you can't lie to kids. See, kids can see things that, because they innocent. It's just black or white. They don't have time to be splitting hairs with gray. They lining up for Shedeur because he's that guy. You can't lie to the locker room either. So it's going to be interesting in Cleveland this year. See, they seeing Shedeur balling. They like 99. We ain't getting none of that. You don't think they want that? You don't think they want to train with the best too? You don't think they got incentives in their contract that they want to hit? If I get so many touchdowns or passes or catches or however they do it in their incentives, you think they don't have that? So you going to keep me with a bum quarterback when I could get these incentives in my contract and get paid more money? Oh, yeah. This is deeper. This ain't just about Shedeur. They screwing over the players too. And there are veteran players that have been down. Finally, they see somebody that brings hope. This kid is good, and y'all want to hold him back. I want to see how this season go. I want to watch it from a distance with Shedeur on another team, though. But I'm liking what I'm seeing from ESPN. I ain't gonna lie to you. They are going to get fired. They set Barry up to be fired. They are setting Barry up to be fired. And either his Harvard degree means he's intellectual, but he has no common sense. He thinks he's being patted on the back. He think, oh, I'm useful. I'm protecting my boss. I mean, a man threw you under the bus twice with things that are obvious. You ain't got that kind of power to give out the only fully guaranteed contract. I told y'all Shedeur being on the same roster with Deshaun Watson was going to mean something. The truth about both of their situations are coming out. Andrew Barry ain't got that damn kind of power. They don't even like black people like that. As you can tell, look at their green rooms. They don't have black people in leadership positions like that. Hey, Salafi, how you doing? What did ESPN say about Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns? Louis Riddick and Mad Dog were discussing why Shedeur isn't getting any reps. It's intentional. It's by design. It's because Cleveland does not want to win with Shedeur because they are biased against Shedeur. Cleveland wants to win, but not with Shedeur as their quarterback. So he likely won't get any more reps than he's already getting. They wasted Vince Young's talent. Absolutely. That was another one. All they do is get these players drafted and destroy. Because if I don't draft them, they're going to go somewhere and partner up. But see, and y'all see it. Y'all see it. These players are still clamoring to get to the NFL, even though they have been shown that this is like a version of a plantation. It's showing that you have to, it's like they have established a system of Jim Crow. If you white, you can do this. If you black, you cannot. And I don't know why they keep ignoring it. And I really think that it's because since they were knee-high to a damn duck, that they have been ingrained to believe that the NFL is what's next. There are no coincidences, people. We had a young man named Charlie Arfadal who had to retire from football because he had one too many concussions. Now you out here making these people millions and billions at the next level in NFL. And if you black, they won't pay you or underpaying you for concussion injuries because they say your brain already has lower cognitive functioning, so you can't possibly be hurt. But they gladly rewarding the white players. Paid a $1 billion settlement for it. It's called race norming. Comes off the heels of plantations. That was in 2021. So we supposed to believe in 2025 that you've been believing this since 1920, that you all of a sudden don't believe in race norming no more. Well, your green rooms look like you believe in race norming. Your green rooms look like you believe in race norming because you don't have a lot of black people in leadership, but the majority of the players are black. So they must not promote from within. They must not want talent on the field to be the talent making the decisions, because why? 2021, $1 billion settlement. NFL players have a lower cognitive functioning, so they don't respect you that way. So I don't know why they keep lining up for it. It must be the money, I guess. Just happy to be there. It's life-changing. But what you have to sacrifice and give up. Look at what Coach Prime is today. Maybe that's enough. That's why some people retire from the NFL early. Charlie said it. It's best for him and his family that he not sustain any more concussions. So if you black, you shouldn't be sustaining none either, because they pay you less. That was a violation of black NFL players' civil rights. So we're supposed to believe you've been practicing this since at minimum 1920. And in 2025, you don't believe that no more. But the organization and the way they treat the players shows you that they do. Look at how Michael Parsons is being treated. But it shows you the media was willing to say they're treating Michael Parsons like they don't value him, they don't want them, but they were scared to say it about Cleveland and Shedeur. It's the same thing. So they didn't learn nothing. And they still violating black NFL player civil rights, especially at the quarterback position. They didn't learn a damn thing. Passing the buck. And they set Michael Vick up. Yep, people are starting to come to that conclusion, Queenie. I think they starting to see it. I think he knows they did him dirty. And I said, I just want to know how it is you go for one thing and you found something else. And why were you called out there in the first place? So you have to have probable cause to search. You search because somebody said something happened to some furniture. So a flimsy excuse is how they showed up and they found something else. Not saying that was right at all. And he said people told him he needed to stop. He grew up with it. He thought he could get away with it. I don't know if it was normalized, whatever it was. There's no excuse for it. But the point is, it seems to be, and there's a discrepancy there on how that catalyst came about. Michael Vick was the first black number 1 overall draft pick, period. First. They ain't have no animosity about him. Everybody else could get it before him, after him, but not him. No, sir. That's why they took his money back. Have you watched part 2 today with Well Off? Yes, I did. I was clenching my face. I was looking like, oh my God. When I saw Coach Prime, when I saw him, we're going to talk about that at 10:35. I will be back. We're going to talk about it at 10:35 because I was clenching my face. I mean, I was just like, okay, this is more than I thought it was going to be. And clearly it was more than he thought it was going to be too. So we're going to be back at 10:35. Let me get through these comments. It says, enemy of the state, until they do right by Shedeur, everything they do going to crumble. That's facts. As long as he on that roster, the truth is coming out. So is a 5th round pick considered not drafted? No, it means that you're drafted, but you're supposed to be a developmental QB, which means, you got to learn before you can lead the team. Now, we know Shedeur is already the best. It's proven. We're not talking about his CU days. They were talking about that with Aaron Rodgers. They were saying, y'all got to stop talking about what Aaron Rodgers used to do. Talk about what he going to do for the team in his current state. Aaron Rodgers also blocked Shedeur Sanders from Pittsburgh. A lot of people were working against Shedeur Sanders in that draft. Boy, a lot of people, and things are coming out about them. And now that's called karma. How dare you want to block Shedeur when you got domestic violence allegations that don't nobody want to talk about? So he said this year is his last year. I'm like, I bet the hell it is. I bet it is. The owners are tired of QBs. They don't like the successful ones with multiple championships, but they can't stop what God has chosen. Right. And that's who the battle is against, to be honest. I just saw Kenny and his wife at some reward thing. Yeah, I saw the Browns put out something about Flacco and his family. I'm like, you could tell what they doing. Forcing Flacco to share a locker with Jerry Jeudy tells you they never believed in Kenny Pickett. They only used Kenny Pickett, took him off a Super Bowl winning team so they could stack DTR, who's black, behind Jalen Milroe, who the media wants to argue about every day. Another black quarterback. Just pay attention. I'm gonna bring out our little chart again next time we talk about Shedeur, so y'all can see where all of these black quarterbacks are, how they stack together. They need to run Haslam out of Cleveland. If only their fans could wake up from their slumber, because I don't know what the hell is going on, but that is why Cleveland is so bad for so long. Their fans refuse to hold them accountable. I think he will get his chance. He moving up. The block DG is not the answer. DG is not the answer. Okay, we're going to see. The rumor is somebody headed out the door. So let's see who it is. That was impressive as shit that Jimmy Haslam said. Yeah, that was. He's talking about. That was his. I told y'all finger point was going to happen. I have been trying to figure out who Coach Prime was talking about myself. After this, do they think any QB want to come to this dysfunction unless they just want a bag and not win? That they're coming for the bag. That's why all them players there. Cleveland has had a reputation of being a bottom feeder for a long time. They said the last time they won anything was 1989. I don't even know if that's true. That's crazy. That's when Coach Prime was drafted. That's when Coach Prime was drafted. Cleveland messed up. They messed up. They messed up. They totally messed up, Queenie. He really was the number one pick. Yep, Shedeur was the number one pick overall. They screwed him out of that, screwed him out of the Heisman race just to be on the stage. He's the ladder for a lot of these players that got to the NFL, but they holding him back because he's the quarterback. Because the owner, coach, and GM are all lying. Yep. They were sick. It says they do this every black player, especially when it's time for a new contract. That's what I'm saying. I mean, why do you think you get to treat me like that? Right? I don't see them treat nobody else like that. Hell, with the white players, let's see. Brock Purdy, fat contract, no issues. They don't treat the white players that way. They don't. There's a guy named Trey Hendrickson holding out. I don't hear nothing negative about him other than he holding out. Brady is crazy. Yeah, he the one that should rescue Shedeur, but he can't do nothing. They can't stop what God has ordained. Facts. Q-Dog said church. It said, yes, they're going to pass out. They sure the hell are. I'll tell you, let Flacco, see, if they trade Pickett, let's talk about this trade scenario. Let's say they trade, got about 5 minutes to get off here and then we got to come back. I'm going to be back at 10:35. We can continue the conversation at 10:35. We're supposed to be talking about Coach Prime, but we're going to try to put it together. Trade scenario, Kenny Pickett the one. That means Shedeur is still there, Dylan is still there, and Flacco, right? Flacco sharing a locker with Jerry Jeudy. So let's just put Flacco at the QB1. Then you got Shedeur and Dylan supposedly competing, but on today, the 6th day of practice, it's obvious Dylan is not that guy no matter how many reps you get. Now you add in all the pressure from the external noise, and Cleveland don't give a damn because there's 31 owners out there somewhere. You cannot let him get to the front because we did all this shit in the draft and it will be for nothing. Facts. So then together you have Shedeur in the back, then you have Dylan. Let's just say Flacco 42, right? Let's just say he start limping. That means Dylan and Shedeur, the 1 and the 2. Now, let's say we start the preseason with those two, because that's likely what's going to happen anyway. Dylan and Shedeur. We see what's been happening in training camp. Shedeur is the best one. Dylan throwing interceptions, the drive changes back to the other team, they lose, right? There's only 3 preseason games. Then they start again with Dylan. We're going to give you time to get it right. We're going to start with you. We'll let Shedeur play the second half. The first half they losing. Shedeur does what he does. He come back. It's the Baylor game all over again. Tied up, we win. Then we go into the 3rd preseason game. They start with Dylan again. Then Shedeur got to bring it up the rear. It makes it harder for him, but hey, he could do it. And he wins. Flacco's back. He's QB1 week 1. Dylan is the starter for week 2. Flacco hasn't played a full season since 2017. So he's a part-time QB. He good for 6 or 7 games. That leaves Dylan as QB1 if Flacco gets hurt. And then you're going to have to bring Shedeur. Who going to do it? He going to do it. He going to have to do all the grunt work, the hard work. After Dylan loses it, he going to have to fix it, put it back together just like Michael Penix Jr. and try to win. And then when we get to the draft, they're going to trade him for draft capital. That's how it looks if Pickett is traded. I don't give a damn what happened. They're not letting Shedeur get the QB1 unless Dylan and Flacco and Pickett are all not available for whatever reason. 17-32 is the priority. ESPN is right. They do not want to win with Shedeur. They have underestimated him. If Dylan is losing the game and they push Shedeur in, Shedeur going to win that game unless the O-line don't want to play ball. So pay attention. It's not about money, Queenie, because if it was about money, I'll say it again. The owner would have had Shedeur wearing the number 2 jersey. So I'm going to get out of here. We're going to have to be back at 10:30. We'll continue this conversation. We're going to talk about Coach Prime for the Glory Part 2, which is the second video that Bucky dropped. We'll probably be back talking about Shedeur as well. I want to talk about the Buffs. I don't know if we're going to get to them on this one or when we get to 12:15 a.m. You Up podcast, we might get to the Buffs. They started fall camp today, balling out. Kaden Salter throws a dot to Isaiah Harge. So we'll be back 10:35. Let me eat some dinner. I'll be back. Thank you all for everything. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the engagement. Thank you for the comments. You know. Oh, one more thing. Asante Samuel on Thursdays. He announced today. On Thursdays, Coach Prime is returning to Asante Samuel's podcast. They have a schedule. The days will be Thursday. They're trying to figure out the time. So I'm going to schedule this podcast so we can react to Coach Prime being on Asante Samuel on Thursday so we can react to it after it's over. So that's big ups for Coach Prime. He's not just back at CU. He back on the grind when it comes to telling the truth, telling the story, telling what happened, giving his expertise because he's the best to ever do it, right? So he'll be back on Asante Samuel's What Needs to Be Said Thursdays. Schedule this podcast to start when that one ends so we can react to it. All right, y'all. We're going to get out of here. We'll be back at 10:35. Hope you can make it. If you can't, we'll be back again on You Up at 12:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the night shifters, the third crew, and our West Coasters. All right. Talk to y'all later. This was awesome. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. And thank you for my new member, William Yarbrough. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Be sure to join our daily live stream and listen up to What She Said Sports on the go on Spotify. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Stay for another video.